Hey YouTube, 3 quick stories linked from the Drudge Report. I try to get my news from a lot of sources. This is just one of many. This is August the 31st of 2016. Link to Drudge Report is thecollegefix.com, where it has the title, Professors Tell Students, Drop Class If You Dispute Man-Made Climate Change. End quote. We will not at any time debate the science of climate change. Close quote. And this is coming from 3 professors with the syllabus and the setup of this class. This is coming from the University of Colorado. God help us. If you have anybody that goes to that school and your kids, just be careful what they're teaching over there. This is just the epitome of education. I mean, what do you think that you go to school to learn and debate and to challenge and to look at evidence? And apparently on this subject, you can't go there because they're trying to say, well, over 98% of scientists agree, therefore we can't even have a discussion because it's just so. Even though there's so much more evidence to say that global warming is a bunch of bullshit and that the Earth is actually cooling. Even if there are times of global warming, it's not because of fossil fuel emittance and greenhouse gases. It's just a lot of bullshit. So that's the first link. The next link to Drudge Report is going to be with the Washington Examiner at washingtonexaminer.com concerning Homeland Security. It says in the title, Homeland eyes special declaration to take charge of elections. They're trying to seek more power over critical infrastructure, which they're trying to include as elections, just as it has over the security over Wall Street and the electric power grid. And as we know, my friends, that whenever the government can get more power and grab more authority over other people, they will. The government's agencies and governments in general want to grow. And that's why we don't want governments to get too big, because they get authoritarian and they become a dictatorial type of branch. Instead of representing the people, they represent their special interest. So small government is always desired. And this is just another article of overreach and trying to have more overreach on top of overreach with Homeland Security. And the third story link from Drudge Report is coming from the Sun over there in the United Kingdom. This is not a major shocking story, but man, it's just horrible over there at Saudi Arabia. It was one of the last places I'd want to live. It says in Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia sentences a man to 10 years in jail and 2,000 lashes for tweeting that he was an atheist. Apparently, there's no such thing as freedom of speech. You can't have any freedom of religion, and you can't have any of your own ideologies, make your own mind up on anything. If it's not state-sponsored or state-dictated, then you are a criminal and you are a piece of crud of the earth, and you don't even really, exist. And if you do, and you are verbal about your differences that differ from the tow line of the state, or government, you will be put in prison and be a slave, even more so than you are now. And so those are 3 of the top stories that I think that are trending right now that kind of stood out to me. Of course, there's a lot of other types of things, different types of news. But just for this channel, those were just like, good God. In 2016, you would think we would be so much more advanced. And you hear me say that over and over, but it's just so sad that the human condition and the governments that we have set up to supposedly represent us, or that are in power by de facto, are what they are. You would think that people would just rebel against this whole world system. It is just mind-numbing. Of course, then people say, well, are you going to step up? Are you going to risk your life and limb? Are you going to possibly leave your children fatherless and so forth? And generations of people have done it. And I'm not saying you should do it right now. I'm just saying it is amazing that people haven't talked about it more, and people aren't so infuriated by the governments just causing more problems than they help solve. In fact, they almost never solve any problems. Just like all this talk that, all we need is more federal jobs and need the government to get more involved and that'll help employment. Who do you think pays the taxes to pay those jobs? They don't create crap. They don't create nothing. Government is pathetic. And so you say, well, but they're needed though for the safety and protection of the country. True, to some degree, we should have a military. We should have some type of infrastructure. We should have a government that actually responds and listens and represents the people so that we can actually have some order. and create laws and the rule of law that actually is an outcome of the wants and desires of the people based on reality, but not on special interest, not on just because the government wants to grow bigger and be more controlling, and not on influences outside of your country, like the United Nations. Why is the United States and other nations so influenced by these outside groups that are outside of our country? We shouldn't give a dime's crap about it. We shouldn't be involved with NATO. NATO should be disbanded. It's just totally lawless with things they do. If that isn't a special interest group, I don't know what else is. So anyways, just kind of talking about the Drudge Reports there. I'll have more news links in the future. You guys take care.